Hi, I'm Lizzie. Thanks for watching. Today we're going to learn how to make unicorn cake pops. I found that these are really popular and they're really fun to make. So if you enjoy this video, please do like and subscribe, and I hope a little link comes up there. So for this unicorn cake pops, you are going to need some cake pops, and these are ones that I have made using a cake pop machine, which I'll explain about in a minute. You'll need some cake pop sticks, a couple of nozzles with different ends on them, if you can see them. And there, so when we do the unicorn's mane, we've got different textures coming out. A little bit of blusher for the unicorn's cheeks, some black paste, which you can just dip your paintbrush into to do their eyes. A little bit of, you can't see it very well here, but it's yellow sugar paste, or fondant some people call it. And that's gonna be, we're doing yellow for the base of the horn, and then we're going to paint it gold. And then, so I've got my gold paint here, and then I've got some sprinkles just here. And this is for at the end, if we just want to add a bit more sprinkles on top of the unicorn, we've got some of them. And we need some piping bags too, and some good quality white chocolate. I didn't make the cake pops in this tutorial as well, because I felt like if you use one of these machines, they're quite self-explanatory. So there's two different ways you can make a cake pop. You can either make it with baked cake crumbs and buttercream that you roll together into balls, or you can make it like this, where you pour batter into the holes of the cake pop machine. You shut the machine over, 4 minutes later, you pop it open, and you've got a perfectly round little sponge. And these I much prefer. They're a much lighter way of making cake pops. Okay, so I have got my baked cake pops, and I have melted a small amount of good quality white chocolate, and I've done this over a bain-marie, which all it is a saucepan of boiling water, and you don't put too much water in. And I've popped my glass bowl on top and let that melt. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my cake pop sticks, and this is why you don't need to melt too much chocolate at this point, and I'm just going to roll it in that white chocolate there, and I'm going to place it directly into my cake pop stick. So I'll do a couple of these. The reason that I'm doing this is because when I cover the whole of the cake pop in chocolate, I don't want the cake pop to fall off the stick, and doing it like this is like the white chocolate is a bit like a layer of glue. So the stick will stay on the cake pop and you won't have to worry about it falling off. Okay, so once I've got all 6 with their cake pop sticks in, I am going to pop these. Well, this might sound a bit odd, but I'm going to pop them in the freezer, because I'm going to melt my next layer of chocolate now, and I want the cake pops to be nice and firm and chilled. And so by putting them in the freezer just for 10 minutes, chills them enough for the white chocolate to set really quickly. So there we go. So I've got those 7 now. I'm just going to pop these in the freezer for 10 minutes while I melt some more chocolate over hot water. So I've had my cake pops chilling for about 10 minutes, and I've just melted some more white chocolate. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cake pop. I've got all my chocolate here, and I'm just going to make sure it's all there so I can dip the whole cake pop in. Now I'm just going to go in for it. So you want to dip, twirl and tap. Try and remember that. Dip, twirl, tap. And then you just tap any excess chocolate off, give it a little swirl around, and then place it onto a piece of baking paper and just let that set. Okay, so I'm going to show you another 2 and then I'll finish off the others. So I'm going to dip, twirl and tap. So I'm going to dip, twirl and tap. So my cake pops are now back out of the fridge, and they have been in there for about 15 minutes, and they're nice and set, and they are ready for their unicorn horns. So I've got some yellow sugar paste here that I've just rolled into a ball, and then I'm just going to break a little bit off, and the bit I'm not using I'm just going to keep covered, because you don't want it to dry out. So I've got my ball here, and I'm then going to roll it into a sausage. So I've got my piece of sugar paste here, which is nice and long and rolled out, and it's come to a point at one end. I'm just going to wet the cake pop stick with a bit of water, and this will just help the sugar paste to stick to the stick. So I'm going to wrap it around just like so until it comes all the way up to the point. And you can then just tweak it about, make it a bit longer, make it come to more of a point until you're happy with it. And then you're going to repeat that on the rest of your unicorns. So I've now completed all of my unicorn horns on my unicorn cake pops, and I'm just going to paint each horn gold. So I'm just going to paint the horns. I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom and then all the way back up to the top. So when you're covering your cake pops in chocolate, you're going to dip, twist and tap. And when you're doing your gold paint, you want to go all the way up and all the way down, moving around. And then if there's any areas which have missed a bit, I just tap over it with your brush. Okay, so there's one horn. Now I'll just carry on and do the other 6. Okay, so I have finished painting all of my unicorn horns in gold, as you can see. And the next thing they need is some eyes and some blusher. So I'm going to show you on this one. I'm not worried about that little hole there at the front, because when I do the mane, I'm going to do one splodge in front of that horn. So I'm going to do the eyes first. I've got some black, called Midnight Black Sugar Flare paste, and just in the lid, I'm just, even if you put a little tiny bit of water in, I'm just going to mix it. And you want it to be quite thin on your brush. And the unicorn eyes, you can either do them that way or you can do them that way. That way is their eyes closed, and it's the way I'm going to do them. So I'm going to paint one there and the other one there. And then I'm going to give them some eyelashes either side. And then they need a little bit of blusher. A little bit of pink dust here, which is edible. I'm just going to tap it off on my brush, and then on one side give them a little bit of blusher, and then the same on the other side, and you can just blow off any excess and they've got their blusher there. And I'll just finish off the others and then we will pipe on the mane. Okay, so whilst our golden unicorn horns are just drying, I have made some buttercream here. Now for the recipe for this buttercream, I've actually done a tutorial showing you how to make it. So I'll put the link in the description below to this tutorial about how to make the buttercream. I've got my buttercream here, and I want to colour it into 4 different colours so that the unicorn's mane is all nice and multicoloured. So I'm just going to put a bit in each pot. So I'll just add in a little bit of each one. I'll just show you with this one. I'm going to add in literally on the end of my spoon. That's how much I'm going to add, and you'll see now what a difference it'll make. And just to warn you, if you get these on your hands, even like that, like I am now, you've got to scrub for so long to get it off. I usually resign myself to the fact that I'm going to have different coloured hands quite a lot of the time. Okay, so you can see just from that tiny bit how concentrated that colour's gone. So I'm just going to do the other 3 with my pink, yellow and green, and then I'm going to pop them into my piping bags where I've put nozzles in the bottom, and each nozzle is a slightly different shape at the end. So I've now got my buttercream bagged up in the 4 colours that I want to use. All my unicorns have their lovely eyelashes and blusher on, and I am going to start with this one. So when you think about the unicorn's mane, you want to do one slightly larger point in the front, and then you want to have their mane coming down and round the side. So I'm going to start with this purple at the front. Just bring a bit through first. Yeah, that's fine. And then I'm going to do one here. And then I'm going to start to think about where I want the mane to come around. And I'm going to do some random ones and then put one where I want it to finish. And then I'm basically going to do a bit of a game of join the dots and fill in. So this one's a slightly different nozzle. This one's coming through a bit slower. So I'm going to do a slightly smaller one there, and I'm going to do one on the other side of it as well. Slightly one there. This is like a bit more of a delicate one because it's so tiny. And I'm going to fill in some, you can see that around the back. And then I'm going to pick up another one, my yellow, push it on, and then when you pipe, you want to press on and then take your pressure off when you want to stop piping. And then I'm just going to fill in with my green. A little bit on there, another one on this side. And then the main is coming down and around, so I'm going to be filling in any holes with my green. And it comes on like a little spot. So have a little look at it from all angles to see where you might need to fill in. I'm just going to put a couple more of my pink on. So I've got my unicorn mane on there, which looks really nice. And then just to finish it off, I can pick out a couple of sprinkles and put them on. So you can hold over the bowl where you've got your sprinkles and just pour a couple on, let them catch. And because you're doing this straight away, they will, as you can see there, just catch on to the buttercream and stick. And there you are, that is your cake pop unicorn. So I will finish off these and then you can see them together as like a little army of unicorns. So there we have it. We have our unicorn cake pops. I've finished them all off and I have just put a little bit of sprinkle, like glitter sprinkle. Some people call it disco dust. And I've just sprinkled that on top, just on the front of a few of my unicorns, just for added sparkle. But I think these are brilliant and they're really good for kids' parties. They're good for party bags, favours, or just to make with your kids, half-term activity, or just to make with your friends. So thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and if you liked it, please do subscribe to the channel. Thanks, see you soon.